Hello everybody, Multiple Wheels, and welcome to yet another video. And in this particular video, Chris and I here, you'll have seen Chris before in my INN video. Say hello, Chris.
Hello.
Oh, you didn't say Chris. Anyway, Chris and I, we'll be wrapping this van, which belongs to the Andover Rubber Stamp Company. And Chris, you actually work for, don't you?
I do indeed.
Yes, so what exactly was it that the van needed? Because as you guys can probably see, it's already got a load of vinyl on it, which is what we've done because we're filming this after we've actually done the job, because we're not quite sure how the video is going to turn out with it. So yeah, Chris, explain to our audience what needs to be done to
Well, it needed to be eye-catching, and I needed to step away from every other sign company in Andover. Obviously got a lot of vans driving around with their graphics all over them. They've either got images or text. I wanted to step away from that and do something a bit more arty-farty with it. So shapes, geometry, and of course just wrap the whole bottom half of it and make it look like it's come straight from Japan.
Excellent. Right, well with that said, let us cut back in time now, to when we actually started wrapping the van, and Chris and I will be explaining through voiceover exactly what it is that we did. Let's go back in time!
Okay, so we start off with a blueprint of what we're going to be doing. I say blueprint of design. I designed this myself in Illustrator, and we'll be working closely to this plan. Things do change. The back changed quite a lot at the end of the project just because of the way Vauxhall's designed the rear panels, but there'll be more on that later, obviously. So moving along.
The first stage in preparing the van for wrapping was to take off the side trim, because that way then we could put the vinyl on the side of the van and it'd be nice and flush and to cut out any shapes in it. When we removed the trim from the side of the van, we did lose two clips as they snapped when it actually came off.
Here I am cleaning the side of the van. I'm using an IPA solution. I mix my own. I use isopropyl alcohol, and then I go over the top of it with, I believe, an all-purpose cleaner. And this just gets rid of any surface grime and also helps loosen up any road tar that's splashed up the side of the van.
Like the trim panels, we had to take off the indicators. Now remember, at this point, always tape the wiring to the wing so it doesn't fall down inside the panel where you can never get it out again.
So this is a pre-measured line that we've just put onto the van so we can line up the vinyl with no fuss and get everything straight and true without having to stand there with a ruler for a couple of minutes.
So with the vinyl then, we've got this lovely TARDIS blue type colour. TARDIS there for any Doctor Who fans. But yeah, with this we've decided to cut it down to a preset measurement, which was actually on the plans, and the fact we also measured it up on the van as well. Always check twice, cut once, as the old saying goes, but we have oversized it because that way then you get a little bit more room to play with if something isn't quite right or quite, quite to size, as it were.
So to put this on, we're using a method that I call the bridge method, and it's essentially where you pin the middle of what you're putting onto the vehicle, peel back one half, peel it, cut it, stick it down, and do the same for the other side. The reason we're doing this is because it just makes the material so much easier to handle. We're also using magnets to hold it onto the vehicle, which is just a lot more convenient than having to tape the whole lot up. And also, by doing it this way, it gives us room to breathe if the vinyl doesn't go down the way we want it to. But this vinyl, which I will go into more about in the next section of the video, is really, really good at what it does. So we didn't have any problems putting it on, thankfully. For this van, obviously it's our own company van, so we're using a really, really high-grade wrap vinyl. This is a Hexus 7-year guaranteed wrap vinyl. It uses an air release adhesive, so as you can see, the huge bubble that was just on screen is now gone. It's a really workable vinyl, doesn't need to be heated as much as other wrap vinyls. If you are an amateur or you're doing this for the first time, I mean, this is the first large scale wrap that I've done personally. I recommend using this vinyl because it's almost idiot proof.
With the vinyl all actually tucked into place and flattened out and stuck to the van as best as possible, the arch can now be cut out because this is just obviously waste material at this point.
So here we are putting on another part of the design, which is the hexagons. Obviously, one of these on each side does actually go underneath the trim. I just wanted to get these on so we'd have a nice, flush, clean finish to the design itself.
So what we're doing here is just simply slicing open the holes where the trim needs to go on the side of the van, because otherwise, with vinyl in the way, it's going to prove a bit of an impossible task, and you're obviously going to lose that battle. Because although vinyl is quite easy to cut, it's quite resistant to larger objects trying to puncture it. So yeah, that's all we're doing with this bit.
So it's time to do the other side of the vehicle. As you can see myself, I'm just squeezing on the vinyl, and then I will be trimming in the fuel filler cap, because annoyingly that was actually quite low down on this vehicle. And then after that I proceeded to cut out the arch and remove the excess material and place it back onto backing paper for later use.
We decided that working on the other side of the van with so much stuff down the side of the little workshop that we had, it was too small an area to apply the vinyl, so we turned the van around so we had a bit more space to work with. Chris loves his little hexagons.
Yeah. So here I am just cutting the vinyl on the door seam, because obviously if I didn't cut the vinyl on the door seam and I opened the back door of the van, the whole side of the van would come off, and that's not a good look when you're turning up to a customer's place of work.
This was the result at the end of day one. It really doesn't look like much, but the majority of the prep work took up the time. As an idea of time frame, we started at about 10:45 am and finished at roughly 4:30 pm. This was Chris's first major wrap. I was just there to help out and film, so we just took our time and made sure it all looked right rather than rushing, as this van was wrapped for the business Chris works for.
So it's another day now. I believe it was a couple of days after we'd actually finished
piece
the
is
bottom
now
half of the
on the back of
vehicle.
the van, so Chris,
And
what
here
do
I
you
am
think?
just
Does it
cutting a
need to have a little bit
template
trimmed
out
off,
of some
or
scrap vinyl that I had just
does it
to
need trimming off
test the
then?
fit of the rear panel of the van, because vehicle templates are often as accurate as the artist has drew them, and there's no way of knowing how accurate they are until you've cut a test piece, or you've measured them and you've measured each and every individual corner radius on that
Chris
vehicle.
moves it around, getting into position
So
just
the
to
easiest
see
way
where it needs trimming off.
I know how to do that is just to
Doesn't it?
cut a test piece and whack it up on the van and see how it is.
It's a long and lengthy process, this.
It's a bit.
So with the templates, what needs to come off the top then, Chris?
It'd be 15 mil overall height.
15
then-
mil height, and then
I'm thinking 10 mil in length, and that will get us inside nice and lovely.
and this is why you cut a tester piece.
It is, and also because the curve's in the wrong place. Thanks, artist whoever drew the template. So
This is what we could consider a small challenge. But it's not a challenge that can't be overcome.
technically that should go in there like that.
Bit of a gap up top though.
Yeah, I know. That's right. So 15, 10. Let's go.
So here I am cutting down the, I believe it's anthracite grey. It was a satin grey metallic, absolutely gorgeous colour. I'm just cutting down the roll because they only come in 15, no, this was a 750mm roll. And our cutter can only cut up to 610mm, so I had to lop off the excess. But the excess will be used for the stripes that will eventually go onto the van.
With the vinyl now cut down that Chris has just done, as you just saw, the plotter gets to work. Just to put it this way for the audience, there's a lot of sped up footage in this because it is quite a time consuming project, but this particular bit of footage isn't actually sped up, this is real time, so just to put it in context of how quickly a plotter can work.
Yeah, and especially with the Graphtec 6000 series, they are incredibly fast plotters. I believe the new 7000 series is out now, which are even quicker.
After all the hours of hard work put in, this was the end result. Hey everyone, thanks you very much for checking out this video on obviously wrapping the Vauxhall Combo cargo you'll have seen a walk around of in the previous video on this channel. I will say at this point, despite the fact that this video obviously has had a lot of features from the Andover Sign and Design company, this video was not sponsored by them in any way, shape or form. It was just something that between myself and Chris, who obviously works for them, and I've known Chris for completely thousands of years it feels like, and of course he's one of my close personal friends as well, having come to IMM as well with me. As it's already been stated in this video, Chris does actually work for the Andover Sign and Design company, and the reason for wrapping the van in the first place was A, to give Chris a little bit of experience of doing it, because it was the very first large-scale van wrap that he'd ever done, but also it was because obviously the van being a works vehicle, it needed to have some advertising put on the side of it, and so it had to look really quite nice. So that's what this video was. It's just basically just to show how exactly me and Chris did the van wrap on that. I went along just to help with filming this video, as well as actually helping him out with putting the wrap on, because as you may have seen from certain shots, I'm just like a little bit taller than Chris, which when wrapping a van in certain places it can make a bit of a difference. Obviously when you're doing a vehicle wrap, wrapping a vehicle, or indeed anything, if you're doing multiple bits on it, it is obviously very time consuming, and of course it's also rather repetitive at times. So trying to make a video that's quite short, about 10, 15, 20 minutes length, out of, you know, something that's essentially quite repetitive is quite a challenge. So I did enjoy making that as well. So hopefully you have enjoyed this challenge that I've essentially put to myself, really. With this video, I will say in terms of the actual time spent wrapping, it was about between 10:45 and 4:30 that we actually did. We got about 4 or 5 hours worth of footage, but of course when it's all just wrapping and showing the same stuff over and over again, it's not obviously the best for you guys to view. So hopefully you've enjoyed what I've put up here. But if you have enjoyed it, please remember to consider leaving a like, comment down below if you want to say something nice about the video, and you know, we thought we'd try something a bit different with this one. And of course, if you want to see more sort of car-y content, feel free to subscribe, because obviously there'll be plenty more car-based content to come in 2021. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I shall see you, well, tomorrow for the Q&A. So, for now, farewell.